Princess Diana's lost letter to Princess Anne, finally revealed. No one can forget the image of Princess Diana, a woman of strength, yet burdened with hidden pain. She was not only a symbol of beauty and compassion, but also someone who lived in both the spotlight and the shadows of the royal family. Recently, a remarkable secret has come to light, a letter Diana sent to Princess Anne, her sister-in-law. After years of silence, this letter has finally been revealed, unveiling a story previously unknown. Why did Princess Diana choose to share her deepest thoughts with Anne, instead of King Charles or others in the family? Could the words in this letter reveal a new perspective on royal life, exposing the complex and mysterious relationships within the family that we have never fully understood? Join us as we uncover the surprising truths this letter holds and explore why it is so significant. Long before she became one of the 20th century's most iconic figures, Diana Frances Spencer was simply a young woman grappling with the complexities of a life few could comprehend. Born on July 1, 1961 at Park House on the Sandringham estate, Diana entered a world of privilege deeply tied to the British royal family. Her grandmother Cynthia Spencer and Ruth Roach had served as ladies-in-waiting to Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, reinforcing the family's prestigious status. Her parents, John Spencer and Frances Spencer, had hoped for a son to carry on the family name. When Diana was born, they were disappointed, leaving her name undecided for a week. Eventually, she was named Diana Frances after her mother and a distant relative, Lady Diana Spencer, who had once been considered a potential bride for Frederick, Prince of Wales. Diana was affectionately called Duch, a playful nod to her regal demeanor even as a child. By the time she was 7, her family had fallen apart. Her parents' bitter divorce cast a long shadow over her early years. Diana initially lived with her mother Frances in London, but after a contentious custody battle, her father gained full custody, supported by the influential backing of her maternal grandmother, Lady Fermoy. This decision further fractured the family, leaving Diana caught in an emotional tug-of-war. She often found joy in her siblings, but the absence of her mother weighed heavily on her. In her late teens, Diana returned to London, determined to forge her independence. On her 18th birthday, her mother gifted her a flat at Coleherne Court in Earl's Court. Sharing the space with 3 friends, Diana embraced the joys and challenges of young adulthood. Her days were filled with laughter, late-night conversations, and the freedom of living on her own. But soon the simplicity of that life would be replaced by the expectations of royal duty. Diana first met Charles, Prince of Wales, in November 1977. She was only 16 while he was 29 and dating her older sister, Sarah. But fate had other plans. 3 years later, in the summer of 1980, their paths crossed again during a weekend gathering. This time, Diana caught Charles's attention. Her warmth, innocence, and genuine spirit stood in stark contrast to the rigid, polished world he inhabited. Captivated by her, Charles invited Diana to sail aboard the royal yacht Britannia and later to Balmoral Castle. When she met the royal family, her charm and sincerity won over the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh. By February 6, 1981, Charles proposed. Diana accepted, and though the news was kept secret for a time, the world soon rejoiced at the announcement of their engagement. Yet beneath the public's adoration, Diana faced a far more isolating reality. Adjusting to royal life proved immensely challenging. Buckingham Palace, with its vast corridors and centuries-old traditions, became a place of silent judgment and isolation. Every curtsy, word, and gesture was scrutinized. Diana devoted herself to mastering the protocols, tirelessly practicing the art of royal etiquette. At formal events, she strove to earn the approval of those around her. But not everyone welcomed her. Princess Anne, Charles's sister, maintained an indifferent attitude. Known for her blunt nature and strict adherence to tradition, Anne viewed Diana's struggles with little sympathy. At dinners, Anne's lack of acknowledgement was evident. Diana's attempts to engage her in conversation were often met with little more than a nod. Observers began to notice a change in Diana. The once vibrant and carefree young woman grew increasingly subdued. Even palace staff could sense her mounting discomfort. Former royal chef Darren McGrady recalled moments when Diana sought solace in the quiet corners of the palace. One evening he found her alone in the kitchen, tears silently falling. She confided her confusion, struggling to understand why her presence provoked such resentment. The tension between Diana and Anne worsened with the birth of Prince William in 1982. It was expected that Anne, as the child's aunt, would serve as godmother, a symbolic gesture of family unity. However, Diana chose differently. Instead of bowing to expectations, she selected close friends who had shown her personal kindness. To Anne, this decision was a deliberate rejection of her status and role within the family. The disappointment was clear. 2 years later, when Prince Harry was born, Diana repeated her decision. Anne, once again overlooked, took it as an insult. Lady Susan Hussey, a confidant of the Queen, later spoke of how deeply this wounded Anne. It wasn't just about tradition. It was about loyalty. For Anne, Diana's choices were a rejection of the values that had long defined royal life. On the day of Prince Harry's baptism, Anne's decision spoke volumes. Instead of attending the ceremony, she chose to spend the day hunting at her country estate. The message was clear: if Diana could break with tradition, so could she. From that moment, the distance between the two women grew. Their interactions became brief and formal, with no attempts to mend what had been broken. Yet Diana remained determined to carve her own path. Another factor seemed to widen the rift between Princess Anne and Princess Diana: relatability versus rigidity. In the grand halls of Buckingham Palace, the lives of the two princesses unfolded in starkly different ways. Princess Anne, the only daughter of Queen Elizabeth II, maintained a steadfast attitude toward her role in the monarchy. In contrast, Princess Diana brought an undeniable charm and warmth to the royal family, capturing the hearts of millions. Though they stood side by side in photographs, their differences were unmistakable. Anne's days were filled with engagements that rarely made headlines. From charity work and military events to representing the crown at international gatherings, she carried out her duties with relentless determination. While some royals welcomed media attention, Anne preferred to keep her personal life out of the spotlight. She valued privacy and believed that actions, not appearances, defined a royal's worth. A close family insider and cousin of Prince Philip often admired Anne's dedication. Rising early to read briefing documents and traveling the country to fulfill her commitments, Anne approached everything with a sense of duty. She devoted herself to her responsibilities without seeking admiration or praise. Publicity was never something she expected. To her, serving the crown was simply part of her identity. But Diana was different. When she married Prince Charles, she brought a fresh energy to the monarchy. Her genuine kindness and ability to connect with people reshaped public perceptions of the royal family. She hugged children in hospitals, comforted the sick, and displayed emotions openly, something rarely seen in royalty. The public adored her. Every glance, fashion choice, and heartfelt gesture became a headline. James Milton, a former royal correspondent, recalled how Diana's presence changed everything. Anne's tireless work, no matter how significant, was often overshadowed by Diana's magnetic charm. Even Anne's opening of a new hospital or a school visit went largely unnoticed compared to Diana's latest public appearance. Anne's commitment to tradition and protocol simply didn't garner the same attention. While the world admired Diana's openness, not everyone in the palace shared this view. Behind the smiles at public events, an unspoken tension lingered between Anne and Diana. They rarely stood close in family photos, and their conversations remained polite but distant. Their differing views on royal life created a divide neither could bridge. Diana's struggles within the palace walls only deepened this rift. As her marriage to Prince Charles began to crumble, the immense pressure took a toll on her mental and physical health. She battled an eating disorder in silence. When she reached out for support, her pleas were often met with indifference. The very walls that symbolize royal grandeur now felt like a prison. Personal struggles were viewed as weaknesses, and the royal tradition of projecting strength left little room for vulnerability. Anne's response to Diana's visible suffering only underscored their opposing perspectives. When Diana missed official engagements due to her battle with bulimia, Anne reportedly remarked that illness should never interfere with duty. This belief, deeply ingrained in Anne, highlighted the differences between them. While Anne embraced a stiff upper lip, Diana refused to hide her pain. Anne believed dignity meant enduring hardships without complaint. Even during her own divorce, she remained silent, never sharing her emotions with the public. Diana, however, chose a different path. By speaking openly about her mental health struggles, she broke the cycle of secrecy that had long defined the royal family. Her courage in addressing these issues made her more relatable and beloved. By 1990, Diana had learned to survive within the palace walls. She channeled her energy into charitable work, connecting with causes that deeply resonated with her. She found solace in unexpected places, small havens of comfort where she could laugh freely and escape the weight of her role. But it wasn't enough. Her sister, Sarah Spencer, revealed that Diana kept a diary during those years. In it, Diana described feeling like an actress on a stage where everyone else knew the script except her. Though the animosity between Diana and Anne never escalated into open confrontation, it was a quiet, persistent strain. Anne, deeply committed to her duties, continued to uphold the traditions Diana often questioned. Meanwhile, Diana's determination to bring warmth and compassion to her role set her apart. In the years that followed, Diana's life was marked by both triumph and tragedy. Though she never viewed Anne as an enemy, there were moments when she longed for guidance. Deep down, Diana wished Anne had reached out, offered reassurance, or shared words of wisdom. But Anne remained distant. Years later, a letter surfaced, a letter Diana had written to Anne in a final attempt to bridge the gap between them. Its contents revealed Diana's yearning for common ground, and perhaps raised questions about how things could have been different. Inside a forgotten, dust-covered box hidden beneath old papers lay a collection of personal letters from the late Princess Diana. Each letter reflected her warmth and sincerity, handwritten thank you notes and messages brimming with kindness. But among them, one envelope stood out. Addressed to Princess Anne, it remained sealed and untouched for over 26 years. While countless letters from Diana had found their way into the public eye, published in newspapers, or auctioned to eager collectors, this envelope had escaped attention. Cream-colored and embossed with Diana's signature royal letterhead, the envelope was as pristine as the day she sealed it. Her elegant handwriting, unchanged by time, sparked curiosity. Why had it remained unopened for so long? News of the discovery spread quickly, attracting historians and experts. Among them was Dr. Sarah Matthews, a respected historian specializing in Diana's correspondence. With years of experience studying the princess's heartfelt writings, she immediately recognized the rarity of this find. Unlike letters bearing creases and smudges from frequent handling, this one appeared almost untouched. Even more puzzling was its journey. The letter had passed through the hands of 3 different owners. Its most recent custodian, a retired banker, had purchased it from an anonymous seller in 2001. This mysterious seller had once been closely connected to the royal family, though their identity remained concealed. Despite its significance, no attempt had been made to read the letter, raising questions about what compelled these owners to keep its contents a secret. An even greater mystery lay in the small, crimson wax seal securing the envelope. This was no ordinary royal insignia. Instead, it bore Diana's personal crest, a mark reserved for her most private and significant messages. It was a silent declaration that what lay within was profoundly important. With each unanswered question, anticipation grew. When the letter's contents were finally revealed, they proved far more astonishing than anyone could have imagined. Diana had written it in early 1997, just months before her untimely death in Paris. Unlike some of her other writings that express frustration or sorrow, this letter was composed with remarkable clarity and insight. Calm and reflective, her words painted a vivid picture of the future she envisioned for the royal family. Diana spoke of inevitable changes. She understood that the monarchy would need to adapt to the modern world. She also foresaw the growing influence of the media and the pressures it would impose. But her greatest concern was for her sons, William and Harry. She anticipated the intense public scrutiny they would face, recognizing how the media's relentless attention could shape their lives. Her prediction was strikingly accurate, her words echoing through the years as the two princes navigated their roles in an ever-changing royal landscape. Perhaps the most surprising part of the letter was Diana's heartfelt request. She addressed it to Princess Anne, a choice that had surprised many. Though the two women were not known for a close relationship, Diana's words carried a tone of deep respect. She praised Anne's strength, dedication to the royal family, and ability to remain steadfast in her duties. Despite their differences, Diana saw in Anne a figure of resilience and loyalty. Then came the most startling revelation. Diana expressed a solemn wish, if anything were to happen to her, she wanted Princess Anne to watch over William and Harry. It was a plea no one had anticipated. This heartfelt request suggested an underlying trust that had long gone unrecognized. In a family where relationships were often complex and layered, Diana's words spoke volumes. She believed Anne would provide stability and guidance for her sons in her absence. Another prominent royal historian was struck by the letter's prophetic nature. Diana had demonstrated an understanding of the challenges the monarchy would face. She recognized the delicate balance between preserving tradition and embracing modernity. Her reflections on relentless media scrutiny were particularly striking as her sons' lives would become constant subjects of public debate. She had foreseen the struggle between personal privacy and public duty, a battle still evident today. While the British royal family has chosen to remain silent on the letter's discovery, public fascination has only grown. Handwriting experts analyzing every detail have confirmed the document's authenticity. The paper ink and Diana's familiar penmanship leave no room for doubt. For now, the letter is securely housed in the British Library. Experts continue their examination, hoping to uncover further insights into its creation and significance. Yet even without further analysis, the letter's impact is undeniable. It has reignited conversations about Diana's legacy and her relationship with Princess Anne. Their perceived distance may have been exaggerated, and the letter suggests a level of understanding and trust that few had acknowledged before. Diana's words serve as a testament to her wisdom and intuition, capturing her hopes and fears in her final months. More than 2 decades later, the monarchy continues to grapple with the challenges she foresaw. The media's influence has only grown, and public expectations of the royal family have shifted. Diana's voice through this long, hidden letter remains as powerful as ever. Her concerns, insights, and unwavering love for her sons resonate deeply. It is a reminder of the legacy she left behind, not just as a princess, but as a mother, a humanitarian, and a woman unafraid to speak her truth. By the spring of 1990, Princess Diana's behavior took a noticeable turn. Those who had been by her side for years sensed it immediately. Her once carefully maintained habits shifted, revealing a growing sense of urgency. Diana's secretary, who had always admired her deliberate and composed demeanor, now saw her writing letters more frequently. But these were not the elegant, carefully crafted notes she was known for. They were rushed. A royal protection officer who worked with Diana in her final months recalled her restlessness. Nights stretched on as she remained awake, hunched over her desk, writing furiously. It was not uncommon for him to find her still in the same spot at sunrise, her desk cluttered with sealed envelopes. But these letters were not her usual messages to friends or charities. They were far more serious, containing warnings of threats and instructions with an unsettling tone. One of the most alarming letters was addressed to Paul Burrell, her loyal butler. Burrell, who had served both the Queen and Diana for years, had become a trusted confidant. His presence was a constant in the chaotic world of royal life, giving him an insider's perspective on Diana's growing fears. In her letter to him, Diana wrote of dark forces closing in. Her words were chilling, revealing a deep-seated belief that powerful figures wanted her silenced. But the letter that stood out above the others was the one she sent to Princess Anne. Written on Kensington Palace stationery, Diana's words carried striking clarity about the inevitable changes within the royal family. The rigid traditions that had defined the monarchy for centuries were beginning to crumble. She believed that Prince William and Prince Harry, though young, would face immense pressure. Their lives would be scrutinized, their choices judged. Despite the complexities of their relationship, Diana respected Princess Anne. Anne had long been known for her resilience and refusal to conform to public expectations. Though the two women were not particularly close, Diana saw in Anne a rare strength. Anne had carved her own path within the royal family, balancing duty with independence. It was a quality Diana admired and hoped her sons would embrace. The letter contained a heartfelt plea. Diana did not ask Anne for conventional protection. Instead, she wanted her to be a source of understanding for William and Harry. She believed Anne's guidance could help them navigate the intense demands of royal life without losing their sense of self. Diana wanted her sons to grow up knowing their individuality mattered, that their worth was not defined solely by their titles. In her letter, Diana also reflected on her humanitarian work. Her campaign against landmines had become a defining part of her life. She had walked through active minefields in Angola, met with survivors, and brought global attention to the cause. But choosing to engage with politically charged issues came with consequences. Her advocacy had angered powerful figures who viewed her influence as a threat. Diana knew this and acknowledged it fearlessly. A journalist who closely followed Diana's work later recalled the gravity of those moments. Diana's dedication to her causes grew even as her ties to the royal family weakened. She no longer held the title of Her Royal Highness, but in its place she found something more valuable, her voice. Yet with this newfound voice came constant surveillance. Diana became increasingly aware of her surroundings. She noticed unfamiliar cars trailing her and unsettling clicks on her phone line during calls. Still, Diana's words to Anne were not filled with fear. They were written with hope. She envisioned a future where the monarchy evolved, where William and Harry could live authentic lives. Diana held fast to the belief that understanding and empathy could bridge even the most distant relationships. She hoped Anne would be part of that change, not only for her sons, but for the entire family. She understood that change was inevitable and that those who resisted it would struggle. Toward the end of the letter, Diana's tone softened. She wrote not as a princess, but as a mother. Her greatest concern was the happiness and well-being of William and Harry. She entrusted Anne with this deeply personal wish, hoping her words would resonate long after she was gone. At the bottom of the page, Diana included a simple yet striking note, a prediction that time would prove her right. Looking back, her words now carry profound weight. William remains bound by royal responsibilities, constantly balancing his public role with personal desires. Harry, by contrast, chose to step away from the institution, entirely seeking freedom across the ocean. In many ways, Diana foresaw it all before it unfolded. Ultimately, her greatest hope was that her sons would find their own paths, and perhaps in their own time, the family she left behind would do the same. Prince William and Prince Harry now lead different lives, just as their mother, Princess Diana, had predicted. Her remarkable insight has left royal watchers stunned by the accuracy of her vision. Diana's words carried a calm certainty, as if she had mapped out the future long before it came to pass. Margaret Wells, who once worked closely with both Diana and Anne, revealed a fascinating detail that further underscores the precision of Diana's predictions. According to Wells, Princess Anne has kept a particular issue of the Times from August 1997 prominently displayed in her study at Gatcombe Park. The striking headline, "Diana Calls for Royal Change," surprised many at the time. Most dismissed it, assuming Diana's remarks were exaggerated or emotional. But now, reflecting on the choices William and Harry have made, it seems she saw what others could not. William, destined to inherit the throne, has seamlessly blended tradition with modern values. Like his mother, he embraced the idea of marrying for love, choosing Catherine Middleton, a commoner, by royal standards. Together, they have broken away from rigid customs, giving their children a childhood reminiscent of Diana's hopes. The Wales children attend regular schools and are encouraged to live with a sense of normalcy. Public displays of affection, laughter, and the occasional nervous school day jitters are not hidden behind closed doors. Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis enjoy life's simple joys while being shielded from the scrutiny that comes with royal life. Diana always longed for her sons to grow up understanding both the privileges and realities of life. Through William and Catherine, that wish endures. Meanwhile, Diana also foresaw a different path for Harry. In her letter to Anne, she expressed concern about the crushing weight of royal expectations. She suspected that one of her sons might eventually choose freedom over duty. In 2020, Harry's decision to step away from the monarchy with Meghan Markle confirmed her suspicions. His departure shook the royal family and dominated headlines worldwide. "My decision for my wife and me to step back is not one I made lightly," he said. Choosing personal happiness over royal obligations, Harry's exit marked a turning point not only in his own life, but in the monarchy's narrative. Harry's public statements after his departure echoed Diana's warnings. He spoke openly about the toll of constant media intrusion on his mental well-being. Accusations of institutional neglect and racial bias against Meghan further strained his already fragile ties with the royal family. Despite the controversy, Harry's willingness to speak out has been seen as a bold move, particularly as he has become a prominent advocate for mental health awareness. Through initiatives like Better Up and the Archewell Foundation, Harry has channeled his experiences into creating meaningful change. While critics accuse him of tarnishing the royal image, supporters view his openness as a necessary challenge to outdated norms. His bold, unapologetic actions reflect Diana's belief that the monarchy would face resistance if it refused to adapt. Royal experts have noted the significance of Princess Anne's silence throughout Harry's public revelations. Unlike other family members who voiced disapproval, Anne chose neutrality. Her response, or lack thereof, mirrored the approach Diana suggested in her letter. Sometimes silence speaks louder than words. Recent developments suggest Diana's concerns were well-founded. Her vision extended beyond her son's personal choices. She predicted that the monarchy would face increasing pressure to modernize or risk becoming irrelevant. Traditions that once defined the royal family are now increasingly scrutinized by the public. The demand for transparency, accountability, and relatability is stronger than ever. While the monarchy remains a symbol of heritage, it cannot ignore the shifting attitudes of contemporary society. Interestingly, those close to Princess Anne have observed subtle changes in her demeanor since Diana's passing. While Anne remains deeply committed to her royal duties, she has quietly supported efforts to streamline the monarchy. The decision to reduce the number of active working royals, granting younger family members greater independence, aligns with Diana's vision of a more adaptable institution. Anne's influence within the palace has been understated but effective. She has long been a voice of reason, advocating for practical reforms behind closed doors. Diana may not have lived to witness these changes, but the echoes of her words resonate in the decisions made today. In every choice, from the small gestures of affection in William's family to Harry's global advocacy, Diana's enduring influence remains undeniable. Each time a secret about Princess Diana is revealed, we gain a deeper understanding of a woman who was not just a symbol of perfection, but a deeply emotional, vulnerable person with a longing for connection. The letter to Princess Anne offers an entirely new perspective on relationships within the royal family and on Diana's inner life and hidden thoughts. This story will undoubtedly prompt reflection on the things we never knew about Princess Diana and the royal family. If you found this story compelling and want to learn more about the untold secrets of Princess Diana and the royal family, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons to stay updated on our next captivating videos. Share your thoughts on this letter in the comments below. What do you think about the relationship between Diana and Princess Anne? Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in our upcoming videos where we'll continue to explore the untold stories of the royal family.